Hey Finxters! Now today's lecture is on a very fundamental topic in Python, that is how to iterate over a Python dictionary. Now as I mentioned, this is a very basic topic, but as they say, to be an expert in any language, you must have a firm grip on the fundamentals and the basics of that language. So when you are learning Python, then dictionary is one of those data structures which form the building blocks of this language. So it is very important to learn how you can iterate over a dictionary in Python. Now, before learning how to iterate over the dictionary, let us learn what is a dictionary. Python dictionary is a data structure that stores values or that stores data in the form of key value pairs. So you can think of it as a hash table. Now it has the following properties. A dictionary is ordered, it is mutable, and it does not allow duplicates. This means for each value in the dictionary, there can be only one key. So you cannot have duplicate keys in the dictionary. If you want to dive deeper into dictionaries in Python, I'll provide the link to an amazing tutorial on dictionaries in the description below. As of now, let's dive into our question wherein we will be learning how to iterate over a dictionary in Python. So let's say we have the following dictionary. So as you can see, the values are stored or the data in this dictionary is stored in the form of key value pairs, wherein each value has a key associated to it. Now, there can be numerous scenarios wherein you might want to iterate over this dictionary. One scenario can be you need both the key as well as the value. Another scenario can be you just need the values in the dictionary. Whereas the third scenario can be you just need to access the keys of the dictionary. So that is what we will be learning in this lecture. So without further delay, let us learn how we can iterate over both the keys and the values in the first case. So case one. Now a dictionary in Python is an iterable object. So this means you can easily iterate over the dictionary with the help of its keys using a for loop. Hence, let's use the for loop and access the keys of the dictionary as well as the values. So for key in our dictionary D, and now we simply have to print our key. Here the counter key helps to keep track of each key in the dictionary. And now it's time to access the values. In order to access the values, you simply have to use the square bracket notation. So we write D and then use the square bracket notation within which you have to specify the key. Now this will print the value associated to each key in the dictionary. So in the first iteration, the key is book and the value associated to it is the name of the book. In the second iteration, the key is author and the value associated to it is the name of the author. Similarly, in the third iteration, the key is date and the value associated to it is the year. So let's go ahead and print this. And there we go. We successfully accessed both the keys as well as the values. Now there's another way you can do this. The second way to access both the key and the value, that is the key value pair in the dictionary, is to use a method known as items. Python provides you a function that is items that returns an iterable or a view object consisting of sequence of all the key value pairs of the dictionary as tuples in a list. Now you must remember that when the value of an item in the dictionary is changed, the view object also gets updated. So to better understand what this view object looks like, let us have a look at an example. So we will again be using the for loop along with our items method. And you'll understand the difference between the first example and this example once we complete the code. So let's say for item in D, and then we have to access the method of this dictionary, which goes by the name items. And now let's print and let's see what this items method returns. Now let's go ahead and execute this code. And now, as you can see, the items method has returned us a view object which consists of a sequence of key value pairs such that these key value pairs are maintained in a tuple. So as you can see, in the first case, this is a tuple. In the second iteration, this is once again a tuple wherein both the key as well as the value is stored. So what's the difference between this method and the method that we used previously? Now in this method, you do not need to use the square bracket notation and you can individually access the key as well as the value separately. And how will we do that? To do that, you need to iterate over the key as well as the value separately. So what I mean by that is within your for loop, you have to iterate over the key as well as the value in the dictionary using the items method. And now all you have to do is to print them within the for loop. So let's print these values, key and the value. And that's it. Now let's check if this works. And there we go. We have successfully printed the output as we wanted, wherein we printed both the key as well as the value. Now let's see what happens if we only printed the key. And there we go. Now that we only wanted to print the key, with the help of the items method, we just had to print the counter that was keeping an account of the keys in the dictionary. Similarly, if you just want to print the values, you just have to print the counter that keeps an account of the values in the dictionary. So let's check this as well. And there we go. So I hope this is clear. And we can now successfully iterate over the dictionary using for loop and the items method. Now, what if you do not want to iterate over all the key value pairs? You just want to access the keys, and that's it. So, this is where Python provides you with another dictionary function known as keys, which is an inbuilt method that extracts the keys present in the dictionary and then stores them in a list. So let's have a quick look at that. Now we are going to access simply the keys of the dictionary, that is book, author, and date. So we will once again be using the for loop and then say for key in b dot, and then we will be using the keys function. That's it. And now we simply have to print the key. So let's go ahead and check if this works. And there we go. To make things clear, let me comment these sections of the code. Okay, now let's execute our code again. And there we go. We successfully accessed only the keys of this dictionary. Now here I used a for loop. That's why we got the keys individually. However, let's see what happens when we simply print d.keys. And there we go. As I mentioned, we will be getting a view object returned by the keys method that stores the keys of the dictionary in a list, as you can see in this output. Okay, now you might also come across a situation wherein you do not want to print the keys, rather, you only want to access the values of the dictionary instead of the keys. So, you once again have a method, and the name of this method is values. Yes, as simple as that. It is a built-in method in Python that returns a view object which consists of the values of the dictionary stored in a list. That is, when you use the keys method, the keys get stored in a list, whereas when you use the values method, the values of the dictionary get stored in a list. Let's have a quick look at that. So let's print d.values and let's see what happens. And as you can see, that all the values in the dictionary have been stored in a list. Now, if you want to access these values individually, you need to use a for loop. So let's say for value in d dot values, and then we simply have to print the value. Now let's execute this. Oops, I beg your pardon. I made a syntax error. Okay. So this should be the syntax t dot values, and then we have to open and close the brackets for the function values. And now let's execute this. And there we go. We have successfully extracted the individual value from the dictionary. So I hope this lecture helped you. And now you can easily iterate over a dictionary and extract either the key or the value, or both the key and the value. We learned four different ways of doing that. Initially, we learned how you can iterate over the keys and the values with the help of a for loop. Then we learned how we can do so with the help of a for loop and the items method. And then we went on to learn what the keys method and the values method do when used with the dictionary. So that was it for this lecture. Please like, subscribe, and share our videos if you like them, because that helps us to grow as a family. Goodbye.